Okay, this is how I make my trouser belts. I like these military style buckles. You can get them off Amazon or a lot of other places. They've got a really good hold strength. They're very easily to clip together. Very simple mechanism, very strong. What I tend to do is you can have these where you can manufacture them with a fixed one end and a variable one end and use this as your adjusting mechanism, but I find for a paracord belt that doesn't work very well. So what I do, I've made a jig. It's just a piece of wood with some screws in, and I tie wrap one buckle at one end, and I tie wrap the other buckle at the other end, and then I wrap the paracord just round. So this is 1.5 inch belt, so it takes 6 winds. This is a 2-inch belt, and you can see I think it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 9. I think it's 9 on both of them. Yeah, it's about 8. I think that's the knot end, the other one. So it's 8. So the biggest problem as you do this loop of line is to make sure that they stay in order, because if they don't stay in order, you end up with a weird knot at one end. So my belt will end up this long, so I'm going to lose about 2.5 inches as I create the weave. So you have to you start off that, like, depending, it's you have to do it by trial and error according to what length you're making it, and also how tight you do the weave. So I tend to lose this much, was about 2.5 inches. It's a 27-inch belt, so you just have to work it out. I mean, you can make it, and then if it's too long or too short, you just adjust and undo it and remake it again. So once you've done it, what you then have to do, so I bought this set of tools. They're pretty good. You have the spreading spatula and different ones, and these literally screw onto the end of your paracord. So it's pretty good. So once you've got all the way round, you can see on the last loop you come up and over, and then so you go over the first line, and then you pick the one up from beneath and go and pick that up, and then you go over this top one, pick the one up from beneath, go over the next one, and so on till you get all the way through. But then to do the next run, the next one's a lot easier. All you do is you just put your line through there and then run it down, and you can automatically see that you've picked up every other one again. So you just pull that through, hold on. I did I think it was about 70 extra inches to do the loops, and I will end up with a load spare, but I prefer to end up with spare than end up with not enough. And then the very last bit, you push it as far that way, and then you pull that loop through and get it nice and tight. And then the next one, hold on, let's do that. So the next loop, what you're looking for is do this, get it light. You come over this one, you pick up the one underneath, and you come over this one and you pick up the one underneath, and you carry on like that. It's very difficult. I'm trying to hold the phone one-handed. So here you say I've every other one, and I've gone over the top layer and picked up the ones from below, and then you just pull it through again the same. And then once you've got it here, you then get your tool. You've got to undo all any twists, and then you make sure you push it all the way that way, tighten it up and pull it tight. Then the next one again, you come in here and you bring it all the way down like that, and you've got your next one automatically. So every other one you're going to pull it down from the end and do it, and every other one you're picking every other line. So let me do a few of these, and I'll come back to you. Now we're into coming over the top, picking the one up underneath, over the top, underneath, over the top, underneath, and then pull the slack through. Just got to see the way it twists. You've got to get those twists out before you snug it down, otherwise it's going to make it look messy. And then you get your tool in and you push it up and just pull that out, and then we come in from the other end, and it's a lot easier the other way. You just bring it in like that, and then again try and get rid of all the twists. And then just before you snug it in, you just shove it all the way up and just get rid of that slack like that. And then here we go again, over the top and every other again. Pull your line through, trying to get rid of all the twists. See that? Something like that. So we've got a bit of a bird's nest here. So it's because it's all got twisted, so undo the twists and it disappears. And then just before we put it in, we just shove it up and tighten it down. And we just carry on like that. What you'll see, you'll start to see that the tension on this is starting to pull all this over. So you'll have to move your screw gradually closer and closer as you get further on with your weave, because otherwise it will just pull the screw out, and you get back to you'll end up with the correct length. Every other. You see how much you can tighten the weave by just bringing that in and just pulling it up. makes a big difference, otherwise you end up with everything all uneven, and then so I use the next weave is just bringing it in like that. It's a shame you can't do that with both weaves. And then just before the end, snug it down, pull it tight, and back to the over and every other. It doesn't actually take very long to do a belt, and you can make lots of different sizes. I make 1 inch, inch and a half, and 2-inch belts, and they pretty much take the same amount of time. You just use a little bit more material on the wider belts, and then like this, snug it down. Biggest problem is the twisting. I don't know why it just wants to twist so easily. And the most important thing is right at the beginning, when you do your lines backwards and forwards, for some reason they just want to cross over each other, and you end up with them not in line. That for me is the biggest pain, to make sure that they stay in line with each other, and that number one line is the same. I've already moved the screw once. I'm going to have to move the screw again because it's starting to become like a piano wire, really tight. And then I'll just move the screw 1/2 inch just to take the stress off. And the loops of line seem to catch on everything around you. It's crazy. It's a bit, I do a lot of scuba diving, and the moment you put rope in the water, yeah, it catches on everything. So there we go. Getting going now. These tools are excellent. I mean, they just screw on the end of the line, and it makes it so much easier. And I used to do them without that, and I discovered this little cheap set off Amazon, and it has made a huge difference to be able to do this. I think this is the last one. I'm going to have to move that screw. It's too tight. Okay, so. Undo it. And just move it 1/2 inch. Just put it back in. There we go. It's amazing how much length you lose while you're doing it. That's better, nice and slack. If you move the screw too much, it becomes all too slack and everything starts tangling. So just do it a little bit by little bit. Find your own methods. What works for me may not work for you. I've got way too much spare line. I'm going to have a lot of waste line at the end of this. Probably it's because I do so many different widths of belts, I can never remember how much spare line I need. for the price of the paracord, I'd prefer to have a few feet extra than have to redo it. I tend to give away most of my belts. I'll make a belt and then someone say, "I really like that. Can you make me one?" It's a lot easier for me to give them the belt off my waist and then make my own at my leisure. That way I've always got a new belt on. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. Depending on how it goes, sometimes you can just get a nice easy ending, and sometimes you have to literally go through a bit like stitching, where you have to take it off the rig and go backwards and forwards with the needle with each stitch, just to get that last one in. Not quite sure where we're going to be with this one. Hopefully we don't do that. It's always a bit difficult once you do that. You have to, that last one, you have to pull really tight to get the get all the lines back in line, because you've gone backwards and forwards instead of through. So it's always a bit awkward like that. I think this one may end up good. So I'll pull that like that. So the last one is I'm gonna come through here, pull it through. It's hooked around my foot, of course. Yeah, look, I'm going to have this big long end here. That's not going to look very pretty. So I'm going to have to take it off of here and backwards and forwards stitch that very last one, which is going to be a nuisance, but that's what I'm going to have to do. Okay, so we're going to have to go over and through that one, and then come up over to the next one and come back through the same hole like that, and then through there and down to the same hole as before. That's it like that. I don't like doing it like this. Is a pain in the neck doing this. And then over, back through the same hole. You've got to be careful. You don't come up through there, and you've got to come up through there. You can see it's looking a bit messy at this point, and then back down, which is why you've got to, that last pull through, you've got to be quite strong and get it all back in line again. At the moment it's looking a mess. Over, back in the original spot. I've got way too much spare line here at this point because it's making it awkward. Golly. Hold on. I'm gonna have to get, I've got so many twists in it now, I'm gonna have to, I don't know why it does this. I mean, I'm not twisting the needle, but for some reason it just wants to twist. Come on, where are you? So what I'm hoping for is I've got enough slack in everything that I can get this stitch in line so it doesn't look as horrid as it does now. So we get to the end and now we've got to just give it a real good pull and just pull it in line and just gradually get that line in line. Again, hold on. Probably have to do this off camera. Hold on. Golly. Gradually coming. Just got to get it bit by bit and just tease it back into line. Okay, so I've been tugging on it. Fortunately, I've got some large machines I can tie this to and then just lean back. As you can see, it's all in line and it's not looking too bad at all. So I'll just cut the other end off. And here we have the belt. Oh, what I didn't mention at the beginning is whatever you do, make sure your buckles are the right way round. The last thing you want to do is finish off like this and find your buckles don't go together. You've got to make sure your buckles are in line with each other. So now I'm going to just cut and burn these and put them into place. Okay, so finishing off, what I normally do is I cut it a little long. And then for some reason you have a black line and they decide that the inner core is going to be white. I mean, so I pull it back like that, pull it back and I cut the inner short. If I had some scissors that would do that. And then I pull the outer back. It's probably not going to be enough. Let's do that a bit more. Okay, so now I've got it like that. These lighters are pretty good. I found this one on Amazon. Everything's on Amazon, I guess. And you can just melt it back, get it really going. Got to be careful that it doesn't start melting everything else. And then once it's there like that, you just get your spatula and just push it in and melt it in like that. And there you go. That's not going to come out. And then we just do the same with the other end. And we're done. Now the other end has ended up like this, which is not going to knot up very well. That's probably going to come loose from there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come over and just come up in here and just put an extra little loop in. Oh, it's tight. Hold on. If I can get it in there, that is. She said. Hold on. There you go. Now pull it tight there. Oh god, look at that, I've hit the centre. That wasn't very clever. Okay, I need to unpick that. Oh, that's a mess. Hold on. Okay, I decided that even though I came up through the centre of that one, because this is on the back, it probably end up with a better seal in the end. So I'm going to just melt it in place as it is. Melt down, and then once it's getting low, I'll just smush it into place. And this is on the back of the belt, so that's okay, not too bad. So from the front it looks like that. Okay, there you go. Okay, so here we are. Pretty good, nice and clean. No missed stitches, which is my bugbear. I hate it when I finish it and I find I skipped a stitch somehow all the way in the middle of it. You'll get it a little lumpy in certain places, but if you gradually tease it, you can gradually get it all even. These buckles are excellent. I love these buckles. Amazon, of course. So there we are. Hope you enjoyed this. I did. See you in the next one.